officially, if you look up the definition, is a genetically modified organism. It is the result of a laboratory process where genes from the DNA of one species are extracted and artificially forced into the genes of another species. People tend to think of GMOs as something bad, and that may be true in ways, but they also may be the future of the human race. Imagine finding an island out in the middle of the ocean completely undiscovered. Then you find a new species of plants or animals that are more resilient, grow faster, resistant to disease, filled with more nutrients, and generally require less resources to grow and produce. These new species need extensive research to see its long-term effects on the health of people and the environment. GMOs are essentially just a new subspecies of plants or animals with important differences that fit our human needs.
GMO foods are marketed because there is some advantage either to producer or consumer of these foods. This is meant to translate the foods to be lower cost, greater benefit, or both. Almost 93% of all corn and soy has been genetically modified in some way in our country. The new disease-resistant, fast-growing crops allow for almost 4 times the yield at a lower initial cost, quadrupling their yearly income. However, the people don't accept GMOs because of the lack of extensive research. There should be years of research rather than the average of 90 days. Even though through all the research and studies of GMOs, 49% of the US are worried of the effects of GMOs and that it can harm the environment. Michel Jenkins, a journalist who spent years researching GMOs, says that concerns of GMOs have missed the mark. In his new book, he says that GMOs should not be singled out for criticism, but the industrial agricultural system they possess. Jenkins also points out that genetic engineering has thus been far limited to the country's largest commodity crops.
With this said, we also need to think about the fact that GMOs are a fairly new concept and still need much more research before being completely safe for both the environment and humans. The first genetically modified food was the Flavor Saver tomato, which was introduced in 1994. This was the first approved GMO to be open to public from the shelf. However, the real breakthrough in GMO technology came in 1973, when Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen worked together to create the first genetically engineered organism, or GEO.
I would say I have a concern that they didn't use precautionary principle, which says always do what's safe before you do something. And since they never tested for safety on human health, and they did not test on safety on the environment, such as birds and bees and butterflies, and they did not test on safety economically, like organic farming getting cross-pollinated and therefore not being called organic, I would say that I am against GMOs in America.
Do you believe that GMOs have any negative health effects on the people that eat them?
Yes. I think there have been instances where the protein produced by the transfer gene is an unknown protein to humans, and sometimes it's a protein that people are allergic to. So if they knew it was in there, they would avoid eating it.
Is there a healthier solution to GMOs?
Yes, organic farming is an excellent solution. Organic farming used to be the only way we grew food in the whole world. The healthiest thing is to grow your own food in your own backyard. When you grow food in your backyard, you don't spray it with pesticide. You don't use synthetic fertilizer. You're growing organic. It's cheap. Seeds cost less than a penny, right? So you can get pretty close to free food with a little effort.
Do you believe that GMOs could change the future if the right amount of research is done to the safety of them?
I don't think that genetic engineering in and of itself is necessarily a bad thing. I do think there might be some positive potential to it, but I think as long as the system is broken, where we have the heads of genetic engineering companies becoming the head of the USGA and APA, we'll never have these safeguards in place.